and welcome to This Thing Called Life, a podcast dedicated to sharing stories of giving, kindness, compassion, and humanity. Your host, Andy Johnson, will guide you through powerful stories of organ, tissue, and eye donation from individuals, families, and healthcare teams whose experiences will inspire you. Every act of giving, no matter how small, has the potential to change a life. We're so glad you're here. Now, let's dive into the show.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to This Thing Called Life. I'm your host, Andy Johnson. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. I have a very special guest with me. She is a two-time kidney recipient, and she has also been involved in the healthcare field as a nurse for 35 years, which I just think is amazing that she has that level of compassion for all these years and helping patients be well while also navigating her own healthcare journey. So with that, please welcome Beth Otto. Hi, Beth. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey as a kidney transplant recipient, a two-time transplant recipient?
I could start at the beginning. It's a pretty long time ago, but in 1986, I was a program director at the YMCA in Northern Kentucky at the Wade Y, and I just wasn't feeling well. I just had back pain and I just didn't feel well. I was an athlete through high school, athlete through college, and I just knew something was wrong. Just kind of ignored my symptoms, didn't have any idea what was going on, had some backache, got sick in the morning. I was teaching aerobics classes at the Y, and then I would go to sleep. I would literally go downstairs and sleep for 3 hours. And I was like, okay, something's got to give. And one time in the middle of the night, I just woke up. I was living over in Cincinnati and woke up, called my mom. I said, I'm really sick. I need to go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital, and well, I got to back up. I didn't go to the hospital first. I was taught an aerobics class. But prior to teaching an aerobics class, we had the American Heart Association come over and do blood pressure screenings. And so everybody was getting them, and I was getting ready to teach a class, and they said, well, we got to do your blood pressure too. And my blood pressure was 260 over 180.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So you knew.
Well, I didn't really know because I wasn't educated at that point.
You didn't understand. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't a
sure.
nurse then. I was just like a kid that was
Yeah.
25 years old.
Teaching aerobics.
Teaching aerobics. That's exactly right. That's what I was doing. And they're like, you're not teaching aerobics today.
No.
And with that, I went straight to the hospital. The week, about a month before that, I wasn't feeling well, and I had gone to the hospital, but they dismissed me. They said, you're fine. They actually told me I was dehydrated.
Wow.
So then went to the hospital. They ended up finding out that I had just complete renal failure. They tested me, and I had no kidney function whatsoever. Before I had the complete kidney failure, what I actually ended up having, they found out it was just like my kidneys, I had a kidney infection, a urinary tract infection that led to a kidney infection, which is where all the sickness was coming from. And that's when I went to the hospital, and then they ended up, there wasn't enough knowledge on my point at that point for me to advocate for myself. And so they dismissed my symptoms being young, and then I ended up getting sick with that. So that's what happened.
Wow. So was it a urinary tract infection that ultimately led to your kidneys failing?
Right. That's what they're saying now, because they did all kinds of other tests. There's a disease process called Alport syndrome.
Yes.
Which many people have. It's a relationship to high frequency hearing loss, which
Yes.
I do have high frequency hearing loss. And they thought that might be it. My uncle has it, and my mom has it, and my daughter has it. But they have some slight kidney loss, but they're not complete. They decided that had nothing to do with the kidney function not working and for me losing my kidney function. When I had the IVP dye put in when they were trying to decide what was wrong, that killed any last kidney function I had.
Wow.
Because I was so sick. And I'm not gonna. I don't ever want to say anything negative because we only knew then what we know, right?
Oh, of course.
So
of course.
the labs I got, the good thing about me was it was in December of '86, and I was put on the transplant list in towards January of '87 at the end of January of '87, and we were my family got tested. And that was before, like, a lot of people really knew about it. You know,
Right.
how many people go out and get tested.
Still very early on kind of in transplant. So, yeah, the living donation was,
Absolutely right.
Yes.
So they put me on the list, and on my grandmother's birthday, March 19th of '87, I got a phone call. I'd gone out and eaten a humongous pizza with her for her birthday, and I get this phone call. We wore pagers.
the pager, yes.
And so I wore my pager, and my pager went off. They're like, "Can you get to the hospital?" And I'm like, "Yeah." "Well, have you eaten?" I'm like, "Yeah, whole pizza." You know. So they cooked me, and that night I got a new kidney transplant. I got a new transplant.
So your first kidney came from a deceased donor.
Correct.
Okay.
He was in a motorcycle wreck.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was it like getting that beep, after after you had celebrated your grandmother, and what was it like getting that call?
Surreal.
Yeah.
And one that somebody would be willing to give me the gift of life. And I was doing dialysis 4 times a day. I was at peritoneal dialysis.
Wow.
And I didn't really mind it. I mean, you just did it before breakfast, lunch, dinner, bedtime. You just kind of just became part of your life. It's like an
Yes.
IV, right? So you just
Yep.
like, okay, go ahead and do this, right? So I have lots of fun dialysis stories. That's for another day, I guess, but it's kind of really fun. I was like, oh, good, I don't have to be tied to dialysis anymore, which was great.
Yes.
Because that's where, it's just like young, and I'm like, I don't have to wear a bag. And
Right.
so and that was pretty awesome to be able
Right.
to get that call, right? All I wanted to do was find the donor or the donor's family.
Yes.
And they weren't letting you do that.
Yep.
So you write letters, and family wrote letters, and I never was able to hear back from who the person was. I just knew that it was a male that was in a motorcycle wreck. Yeah. So
Oh my goodness.
I know.
So what if you could say something to your donor's family now from 1987, what would you say?
Thank you.
Yeah.
From the bottom of my kidney
The bottom of my kidney.
and my heart.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's what an incredible gift it is to have that, and just life in general, right? I mean, I don't
Right.
ever take a moment for granted. I'm very,
Yeah.
I live every day as hard and as fast as I can, and try as hard as fast as I can to
Yeah.
help everybody else have that same joy.
Well, and I would imagine too, having gone through a significant health challenge like that at such a young age, probably gave you a lot of perspective, as you said, like living each day to its fullest. Like you really saw like how precious life is, and just having good health, So that probably had a lot of meaning to you at such a young age, I would imagine.
I've just always wanted to live to be 100, as long as my quality was good. That was just always
Okay.
the goal for me. Because I love it. I love living. I love life out loud. I live it out loud. I love it out loud. And I just want to continue to be that, and to try to continue that, and be it, and express that joy for everyone else. So that's what I love. Because I was still working at the Y when I was doing all that, I said, there's got to be more.
Yes.
So that's why I went back to nursing school, and that's where I felt like what I gained from being in the hospital and the care that I received while I was getting my transplant. I was at Christ, as a matter of fact, and the care that I received, I was like, okay, I got to do this. So that's when I went back to
You
school.
felt
and
that pull.
And I felt that pull, and that willingness to want to give back because of what I received from someone else.
Oh my goodness. And so you have had a career in healthcare as a nurse for 35 years
Yep.
at the same hospital.
At the same hospital.
So what different roles did you play, or what different departments did you work in? Can you tell us about that?
The original one was the physical medicine and rehabilitation. Anybody that had like strokes or
Okay.
hip replacements, knee replacements, back injuries, kind of worked together at the physical therapy, occupational therapy team, worked with exercise physiologists, and then physiatrists, the physicians that help with the rehabilitation. I did that for probably about 10 years.
Okay.
And then my joy that I've always liked was heart. My father had heart attack when he was 36 years old, and another one.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
he had bypass surgery. And so I really always wanted to become a heart nurse.
Okay.
And so I ended up getting and working in the cardiac unit, cardiac rehab, and I did that for 19 years. And then I worked alongside with wellness and cardiac care, and then I also worked in like wellness within the hospital for the within the hospital with my coworkers. And then I did I did care management for a middle. I didn't like that much because I was more like a one-on-one with people.
Okay.
But I was on the phone all the time. But I
Okay.
like to do direct patient contact.
Okay.
And then from there, I moved from there to infusion. And I did
Okay.
some side jobs in between there too, just kind of picked up in different areas. So I'm currently
Nice.
working in the infusion department.
Nice. I could just see just your energy radiates, and I feel like that probably you poured that into your patients, and then also just having kind of your own experience to, lived experience as a kidney recipient probably allowed you to connect on a deeper level with patients, if I had to guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The person I think that was probably the biggest influence for me as a kidney recipient, because you had asked me before, I'm a two-time, and
Yes.
my first one failed after 15 years, but I had had a child in between then. So my first one was in '87. I had my daughter in '93, and then it just causes you to have just some increased problems with blood pressure, blah, blah. So in
Yes.
2001, my first kidney failed. And then my second kidney, this gal, my mom's like, oh my God, she needs a kidney, what are we gonna do? And her name's Beth Beautiful, and another Beth. She said, I already know I'm gonna do it. But
And how did your mom know Beth?
well, our families
Oh,
are
family.
lifelong friends.
Okay.
Her parents, Patty and Willie Dobling, were best of friends with my mom, John and Shar. And then our whole families grew up. We went to Florida together. All of our families went to Florida together for
my
for
goodness.
years. There's a big group of us in Fort Thomas. All went down there.
And Beth said, I know I'm going to be your
She did.
donor.
That's exactly right. She just knew it right away that was going to happen. But the beauty of the whole thing, that experience in and of itself is one thing. But I had 12 people go out and
Step up and get tested.
step up and get tested. She was the best match. When you have to do all the different, there's the different processes and they call them the alleles and the different things they have to match. And the perfect match is obviously an identical twin. She was the second best thing to the perfect match. She said the only thing that would have been better if I would have had a twin. We're not even related.
I find that part so fascinating.
Yeah, me too.
So it truly was meant to be, right?
Yeah.
So when you received your first transplant in '87, deceased donor, 2001, Beth is your living donor. How did the two experiences differ?
I guess they differ because I have the ability now to be with my donor all the time. We
Yes.
go out frequently. We, celebrate each other's successes, stories, life, kids. We're all family.
Right.
Her husband always says they're all here when we're together in the same room. So that's just a really fun way, and it's really true. I mean, it's just like we just are one great family.
I
at that
picture
point.
you guys being a very lively bunch. I don't know. I don't know why, but that's just my sense.
Yeah, I would think
Having a
percent is
good time.
very on, for sure. And I guess the thing to say as far as a comparison, I can't because I never really knew the other donor,
Right.
the original donor's family. And I don't know that that's right or wrong. I can't speak to whether or not, I don't know if it's changed now from '87. It was before they just didn't want anybody to know.
Right.
The rules may be different now. I would think that if it were my family, I would want them to know thy family, but I think maybe it's for HIPAA relations, whatever the reasons are for it. But yeah, I would want to have part of that life if I could, but I understand that privacy that's needed as well.
Right. So how's Beth doing since she was your donor? She easy surgery, or not easy, I should say, but pretty straightforward, and she's doing well?
She's doing great. We both did really well when the surgery happened because we both had the name of Beth. She said, all right, give me the pen. So she put a big D on her body and then put a big R for recipient.
We don't want any mix-ups
No
happening.
mix-ups happening. Don't take the one to give it to the wrong one. Right. So, but she's doing great, she and her husband they just recently retired, and they're doing great and living the best life and doing everything they want to do. And God gives those, they're the people who live by the motto, for those who have much, much is expected.
Yes.
That's how they live. They just give and give and give and give.
So, Fort Thomas, it's a very close-knit community. What do you think the ripple effect of Beth donating to you, like, how do you feel like that impacted the community as a whole? Do you think people were like that inspired them maybe to register to be donors, or just, I don't know. I just feel like there probably was some sort of impact there, and it's, like I said, it's a close-knit community.
I think the answer to that is that I think it makes people less afraid to give and to donate. I do think that there's some knowledge deficit out there right now with donor awareness, but I would think talking to people like Beth and myself that have been privy to give, and not that she's been privileged to give, but that I've been privileged to receive, that I think it eases their mind a little bit. I think that the people in Fort Thomas have embraced us, and they just think the story is awe-inspiring. I mean, that's the word I usually get. Like, they're in awe of Beth. I mean, how awesome she is. If she can do it, and, maybe I have to really think about it.
Right.
Why not? Why can't I do it? I said, it's just all about making the decision of what you want to do,
Right.
I do think that there's more awareness now, like if you drive through Fort Thomas, and really anywhere, but there's like signs all over that there's kitty needed, or, help out, and people are putting things out on Facebook and Instagram and all kinds of social media platforms where, and people are like, I'll get tested.
Right.
So I think that awareness, I think the social media platforms definitely helped a lot. But,
For sure.
But I think alleviating people's fears is what we need to do more than anything.
Yes, and I think we do that through, like, storytelling, you sharing your story. But definitely, I think there's a much greater awareness. And I love seeing people, like, I feel like you were probably you were a champion for yourself, right? Like, you knew what you needed to do, and you were advocating for yourself and received your transplants. But I think too, like, a lot of people, it's hard. Like, I need this. I mean, this isn't like, I'm not loaning you $5, but I actually need, and that's hard. That's really hard to ask for. So what would you say to that person who is sitting in that seat and needs that gift, and they need to advocate for themselves, but it's hard, they're struggling?
And that actually, it happened to me in the past at the hospital where I work. I take care of patients, and the thing is with them, they don't know either. And that's the knowledge of, and I think it's important for them to talk to their physicians and say, he's like, I could never ask somebody for that. And I said, and I'm like, so you ask them why, and, there's a reason. Well, what if something happened? And I said, well, I don't think that you ever want to take advantage. You would never want to feel like you're taking advantage of anyone. And the only way that that's going to happen is if you tell them why it's important for you to need a kidney, or whatever organ you may need, right? So I said, if you love your life, and you love yourself, and you love your family, and you want to, I think you also have to be willing to give. I don't think it should be selfish by any means.
Absolutely.
But I think if you can say, this is really important for me, this is why I need it, this is why I need help.
Yes.
I think that there's people out there that are very altruistic, and they'll just go ahead and they'll make it work for you, right? But you can't just sit at home and expect it to happen.
Correct.
You just can't say, oh yeah, I'm just going to do my dialysis and maybe somebody will call, or
Doesn't work like that.
or you're going to. There's the list is forever long, right?
Yes.
So you got to knock on doors, tell people how much you love them, tell people how much you love life, and just do the best that you can. But when you receive it, you got to be all in too,
That's right.
and you have to have some support. You've got to rely on your friends, you've got to rely on your family. And that is also a hard thing. Some people don't have that. But so if you don't have that there, then find out within the community, because there's all kinds of places in the community that you can go to and get help. Get a Kidney Foundation, and all kinds of places that can help you with that.
Kidney Foundation has been a great resource. So I'm glad that you suggested or reminded us of that. So people who are considering being living kidney donors, what would be your advice to them?
Go for it.
Go for it. Why not?
Right. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? If you can make one person's life better, you'll also make yours better too.
And that's what I hear often from people who have been donors, living kidney donors. As much of a blessing as they have been to that person that they're able to help, they feel they were equally as blessed because they were able to give this gift, and just the what it has meant for them to be able to do that. And I'm like, I love the way the perspective on that and how they view that.
I just think it's so, I look at Beth and the amount of love that she has for me is like a sister, but it's even more than that. It's when we're together, it's just like, we just like get it. There's just something that's just magical with our relationship. We don't have to see each other for a long time, talk to each other for a long time, but when we're there, as Jeff says, we're all there, right? So, and it's pretty cool, right? It's really fun to have that, to know that we have that relationship, and that I'm alive because she's here, and that she gave me more years to enjoy this great thing called life.
Yes. So do you both, or your families, do you do anything every year to celebrate the kidneyversary?
We do.
You
Every
do?
year, September the 18th is our anniversary,
Okay.
our
So-
anniversary date. Exactly 1 week post 9/11.
Wow.
And that was a different time too, right then. So that was very
Yes.
hard on everybody because it was just such a tumultuous time. Like I remember happening in 9/11, I didn't even pay attention to it. It literally was not even in my brain because I was going to have this kidney transplant.
Right.
And then I had this delayed reaction, and I'm like, of course, I bawled like for months after the whole thing was
Yes.
over. But Beth was like, okay, I got to wrap my head around everything. We're doing surgery next week. And so it was just a whole lot that was a lot to go through for her, from that end. But yes, we go to lunch, or we've always gone to lunch together, but our families would go out. And our 10-year anniversary, we all went to Florida when Beth's mom was alive, and my parents and our sisters all went to Florida and celebrated the 10 years together down there. And this year it's going to be 24 years.
That is amazing.
Yeah, September 18th.
And I think you actually bring up a really good point that I want to highlight. People who receive kidney transplants, the longevity that they get from a living kidney donor versus a deceased kidney is much higher.
Right.
And I think some people don't realize that, but I think that's another plug for living kidney donation.
Yeah, I don't know why that. I guess it must have something to do with just the fact that there's nothing that happened to the
Right.
kidney initially or whatever. So, but yeah, the live kidney has, for me, an extra 10 years already.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
What was the first thing that you were able to do post-kidney transplant that you hadn't been able to do prior to that?
Well, like I was a swimmer, I was very active in the water, and when I had dialysis, I couldn't get in the
swim.
water. So I
Yeah.
loved to swim and go in the lakes and go in the rivers and go in the ocean more than anything. That was probably the number one thing.
Nice.
Just live, live
Yes.
without being tied to anything else, not having to be on a time schedule.
Yes,
And I
tethered
don't
to
think
the
I knew how bad I
dialysis.
felt until I knew how good I could feel. So I was able to do more of everything with more energy and just be better at it. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
Well, you are an inspiration. Like I said, I feel the energy. It's just like electric, and I feel every day you are honoring the gifts that you received over the past, several years. And so I think you are an inspiration to others who are going through this fight with kidney disease and having chronic kidney issues. So thank you for being that person.
Thank you for letting me be here.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us today. Well, I want to thank, again, my guest, Beth, for joining me today and just discussing her journey with kidney transplant. And I want to remind everyone that today there are more than 100,000 people waiting for a life-saving organ transplant. 90,000 of those people need a kidney transplant. So I just encourage you to think about that, and also think about the impact that you could have on someone's life, like Beth, as a living kidney donor. So please do your research, learn more about what that process is, and talk to people and get informed, because that way you can help others. I want to thank everyone for listening today and tuning in, and just remind you to please be kind to yourself and to others. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to This Thing Called Life. Remember, every act of giving, no matter how small, has the potential to change a life. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts so you never miss a new episode. We'd truly appreciate it if you could share, like, or leave us a review to help us grow.